Wouldn't it be like the most petty, humiliating, yet startling thing if I just fired my hat at him?
Ron Howard, once a beloved child star and now an Oscar-winning director, has long been seen as Hollywood's ultimate nice guy. From The Andy Griffith Show to A Beautiful Mind, he built a reputation for being calm, respectful, and widely admired. On screen, Mayberry looked like a close-knit family. And yes, Howard shared real laughs with Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. But behind the scenes, not everything was friendly. There was one person Ron couldn't stand. Someone left him feeling deeply disappointed. And he wasn't alone. That same person sparked a private feud with Andy Griffith himself, one that lasted years. The tension simmered beneath the surface, the bitterness never faded, and the truth remained locked away in silence. But finally, it has come to light. The Andy Griffith Show. The Andy Griffith Show isn't just an old TV series, it's a beloved piece of American history that still touches hearts. Though it aired from 1960 to 1968, its stories, values, and characters continue to bring comfort and joy to viewers, old and new. For 8 beautiful years, the show invited audiences into the charming, fictional town of Mayberry, a place where life was simpler, problems were small, and kindness always won. The series delivered 249 episodes, each about 30 minutes long. The first 159 were in black and white, giving them a nostalgic, timeless look. The last 90 were in color, bringing Mayberry to life in bright detail. But whether black and white or in color, every episode kept the same spirit: wholesome, funny, and full of heart. Surprisingly, the show didn't start on its own. It first appeared as a special episode on The Danny Thomas Show. That's where we met Andy Taylor, the calm, wise sheriff of Mayberry, played by Andy Griffith. His peaceful nature, gentle humor, and steady leadership won over viewers immediately. Soon, Andy and his little town got their own series and history was made. Mayberry was fictional, but it felt real. Said to have just a few thousand people, it was the kind of town where everyone knew your name. Sheriff Andy Taylor wasn't just a lawman, he was also a widowed father raising his young son, Opie, on his own. Andy didn't carry a gun or shout commands. He kept peace with patience, common sense, and quiet strength. He was the steady center of Mayberry, both as sheriff and father. Opie, played by a young Ron Howard, was sweet and curious. The bond between father and son was one of the show's most touching elements. They fished together, shared life lessons, and grew side by side in scenes full of tenderness and wisdom. Keeping their home together was Aunt Bee, played by Frances Bavier. She wasn't just a housekeeper, she was family. Aunt Bee offered love, advice, and plenty of home-cooked meals. Her warm presence made the Taylor household feel full and complete. And then there was Barney Fife, Andy's well-meaning but wildly over-the-top deputy. Played by the unforgettable Don Knotts, Barney was nervous, ambitious, and often got in over his head. His comic blunders, like misfiring his gun or panicking over a missing pie, made him a fan favorite. Andy always guided him with a knowing smile, and their deep friendship was one of the show's most treasured parts. But the magic didn't stop with the main characters. Mayberry was filled with lovable townsfolk, nosy neighbors, wise barbers, and friendly shopkeepers. Each week, viewers were invited into their world, to laugh at Barney's antics, watch Opie grow up, and feel the quiet beauty of small-town life. Even though it aired in the 60s, Andy Griffith once said the show felt more like the 30s, a slower, gentler time. It was never trendy or flashy. That's what made it special. It offered peace, warmth, and values that never go out of style. The audience loved it. It was a top-rated show its entire run, finishing in 1968 as the #1 program in America, a rare honor shared with I Love Lucy and Seinfeld. Don Knotts won 5 Emmys for his role, and Frances Bavier won 1, though Andy Griffith himself never received an Emmy for his performance. Even today, The Andy Griffith Show lives on. You can still watch it on channels like MeTV and TV Land, or stream it online where new generations fall in love with its charm. In Andy Griffith's real hometown, Mount Airy, North Carolina, fans gather by the thousands each year for Mayberry Days. They dress like the characters, sing old songs, and bring the peaceful world of Mayberry back to life. But while Mayberry seemed like a perfect, happy town on screen, what was really happening behind the scenes? What hidden tensions quietly bubbled on set, away from the smiling faces and laughter? Behind the scenes, the real-life tension in the Andy Griffith Show on screen. The Andy Griffith Show felt like a warm hug. Sheriff Andy Taylor and Aunt Bee were the heart of Mayberry, steady, loving, and kind. Their relationship, filled with gentle teasing, quiet wisdom, and deep affection, made viewers believe they were truly family. But behind the camera, the connection between Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier was far more complicated. Andy Griffith, who played the calm and playful sheriff, loved to keep things light on set. He enjoyed cracking jokes, playing pranks, and creating a friendly, relaxed atmosphere. Frances Bavier, however, was nothing like, but by then, the story had taken a poignant turn. 4 months before her death in 1989, Frances Bavier called Griffith out of the blue. She apologized for how she'd behaved during the show's filming, admitting she had been difficult. Griffith accepted her apology. It was a moment of quiet reconciliation after years of distance. There had been earlier signs of Bavier's emotional distance. In 1972, Griffith and Ron Howard visited her home in Siler City, North Carolina. She refused to let them in, only speaking to them through the closed door. The same thing happened in 1986 when producers tried to bring her into the reunion movie Return to Mayberry. She declined to participate, and again spoke to visitors through her door, saying simply, "I never liked Andy Griffith." That's a startling comment, especially for fans who saw Aunt Bee as the soul of the Taylor household. But the truth is, Frances Bavier often felt out of step with the rest of the cast. Some believed she resented the fact that Don Knotts and Andy Griffith got the best comedic scenes, while her character, though beloved, was mostly serious. That may have deepened her feelings of isolation. Rance Howard, Ron's father, once suggested that Andy himself held on to some bitterness toward Bavier over the years. It's easy to see how two strong-willed professionals with very different styles might have quietly clashed under the surface. Yet none of that tension ever showed on screen. The affection between Andy and Aunt Bee felt real. Their gentle kitchen conversations, the quiet comfort of their family dinners, and the care she showed to Opie made Mayberry feel like home. Fans may feel surprised or even sad to learn of the off-screen strain. But in a way, it makes the show even more impressive. Despite personal differences, these actors worked together to create something lasting, something that continues to bring joy to people decades later. Frances Bavier retired in 1972 and spent her final years in quiet solitude. She died in 1989 at age 86. Andy Griffith lived a longer life and passed away peacefully in 2012. She's a writer, a thinker, and a deeply independent spirit. Their daughter, actress Bryce Dallas Howard, described Cheryl as a force of nature, someone who leads with both heart and wisdom. Bryce once revealed that Cheryl made Ron propose 3 times, not because she wasn't sure of her love, but because she wanted to finish school first. That determination and sense of self helped form a marriage built on balance. Together, Ron and Cheryl raised 4 children, including fraternal twins. Despite busy careers, they nurtured a close-knit family with deep-rooted values. Bryce and Paige followed creative paths, but all the Howard children have spoken about the steady love and guidance they received from their parents. Over the decades, Ron and Cheryl have stayed connected not just through love, but through shared passions. They attend events together, read stories side by side, and discuss films and books with equal curiosity. Ron has said Cheryl's emotional insight often shapes how he sees characters and stories, reminding him to focus on human connection in his work. On June 7, 2025, the couple celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. Ron marked the moment with a heartfelt social media post, sharing a photo of them on a beach at sunset. He wrote, "Grateful for 50 amazing years and the family and experiences it has yielded. What an adventure downriver through calm soothing waters and some tricky rapids as well." He added that the secret to their success was loving and respecting each other enough to keep paddling. The year before, Ron brought a spark of nostalgia to their anniversary by taking Cheryl for a drive in the same Volkswagen Beetle from their first date. It was a tender tribute to the day their journey began. Ron often shares what he believes keeps a marriage strong: communication, growing together, and a touch of luck. But above all, he believes in friendship, respect, and daily effort, showing up for each other, year after year. Cheryl once shared that what first drew her to Ron was his gift for storytelling. That shared love of imagination, wonder, and heartfelt moments has been the thread that's tied them together for over 50 years. But even for someone as kind and steady as Ron Howard, was life always smooth? In a world as unpredictable as Hollywood, did he ever face controversy? Ron Howard's rare brush with controversy. Ron Howard is known in Hollywood as one of the most respected, low-key figures, a rare blend of childhood star turned award-winning director who has maintained a clean reputation. While he has largely avoided the personal scandals and public outbursts that often follow fame, a few of his creative decisions as a filmmaker have sparked controversy over the years. These moments, though relatively minor, reveal the tensions between storytelling, public expectation, and cultural sensitivity. One of Howard's most public controversies came in 2006 with the release of The Da Vinci Code, an adaptation of Dan Brown's wildly popular novel. Although the film was a commercial success, it attracted strong backlash, particularly from religious groups. Catholic organizations, most notably Opus Dei, accused the film of spreading blasphemous ideas and distorting Christian history. Some demanded a disclaimer stating that the film was fictional. Howard refused, arguing that the film was clearly a work of fiction and that adding a disclaimer would compromise creative freedom. The incident placed Howard in the middle of a heated cultural debate, but he remained calm and defended the integrity of the film without getting personal. Another significant point of contention came with A Beautiful Mind, which won Howard an Academy Award for Best Director. The film told the moving story of John Nash, a brilliant mathematician who struggled with schizophrenia. While praised for its emotional depth and strong performances, the film was later criticized for omitting key elements of Nash's life, such as his bisexuality, a child born out of wedlock, and allegations of abandoning that child. Critics accused Howard of sanitizing Nash's story for broader audience appeal and Oscar recognition. Howard acknowledged the omissions but explained that the film was meant to focus on Nash's illness and marriage rather than be a comprehensive biography. What affected Howard most was how the criticism impacted Nash personally, suggesting that the backlash sometimes crossed a human line. Beyond these specific films, Howard occasionally faces broader critique about his overall directing style. While many admire his versatility and technical skill, others argue that his films are too safe, polished, or emotionally restrained. Some label him a studio yes-man, suggesting he avoids the edginess or risk-taking seen in the work of directors like Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese. However, many also see this steadiness as a strength, his ability to tell emotionally resonant stories with heart, even if they're not provocative. Throughout his career, Howard has responded to criticism with professionalism and reflection. He doesn't lash out or seek headlines. Instead, he emphasizes thoughtful storytelling, emotional truth, and respect for the people behind the stories. Whether facing backlash or praise, he stays focused on his craft. From his beginnings as Opie on The Andy Griffith Show to becoming a major Hollywood director, Howard's rare brushes with controversy have been tied more to artistic choices than personal failings. In a culture that often thrives on scandal, Howard stands out for his quiet consistency, integrity, and ability to navigate criticism with grace. Even someone as admirable as Ron Howard has his breaking point, so who has crossed that line, and what is it about them that bothers him so deeply? Ron Howard and the people who let him down. Ron Howard has always seemed like one of the calmest, kindest people in Hollywood. For more than 60 years, he stayed out of scandals, stayed away from fights, and stayed focused on telling good stories. Whether acting in front of the camera as a child star or directing big movies later in life, he has been known for being steady, respectful, and deeply professional. But even someone as patient and polite as Ron Howard has his limits. And in recent years, a few people have pushed him close to those limits, people who changed so much over time that Howard no longer recognized them. One of those people is J.D. Vance, the author of the best-selling book Hillbilly Elegy. Back in 2020, Ron Howard directed a movie based on Vance's book. he saw the story as one of struggle and survival, about a boy who came from a poor and difficult background and still managed to succeed.